What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be back to work on our 1966 Ford Mustang. We are still waiting on a couple of parts for our E30 BMW drift car build, but I'm super excited to announce today's video is sponsored by Omaze. So Omaze is offering you guys the chance to win a 1973 International Scout plus $20,000 on top, shipping and taxes all included. So this isn't just any International Scout. This thing is fully restored by the guys over at Bulletproof Restoration. They did an amazing job on it, and they also did a lot of upgrades in the interior. They did a lot of modern things in there, and they also added a fuel injected engine with a lot more power. So the coolest thing about this giveaway is there's actually a charity behind it. It's the Pediatric Children's Hospital in Nashville. So if you want to support a great cause, this is a great way to do it, and you have the chance to win a beautiful 1973 International Scout. So if you want to enter for your chance to win this 1973 Scout, head over to omaze.com/vTuned. So make sure you don't sleep on this giveaway. It's going to a great cause. You might be the lucky winner. So now let's get back to work on our Mustang. So the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is get this Mustang off this lift right here so it's easier to work on. We also need to get the BMW E30 on that lift. So we're inside the Mustang right now, and basically what we're gonna have to do is somehow trim this bar up right here. And we do have this 90-degree bend, which I think we're gonna implement somehow like this. And what that's gonna allow is for our original brake booster and our pedals to fit in here perfectly. Because I was thinking about getting the smaller hydro brake booster, but it's just not gonna work out because we're probably gonna have some engine lights and stuff like that, because that has a lot of sensors on it, and we just want to use the original one just so everything is original to the car. So let's go ahead and get the grinder, do some trimming right here, and then start lining up the new brake booster. So we have this piece cut off right here, and now that's gonna give us enough clearance to stick this brake booster into here, and it's gonna fit somehow just like that right there. And you're also gonna have enough clearance down there to press the brakes and do all that. Now what we're gonna do is actually go to the red car that we have and cut the little square out that's gonna give us the exact template, so we can put that on our new firewall and get everything cut out perfectly. So here's our red parts Mustang. What we're basically gonna do is just cut this square out right here, and that's gonna give us the perfect template to put on our piece. So we have this piece. Let's go ahead and start working on the new firewall. So we got this nice and cut out. Now let's go ahead and test fit it, and it lines up pretty daggum good. Slide that in there just like that. Now let's go ahead and get this firewall back on the car. So we have the brake booster installed in here. All the clearances look good. Now the only problem we're having is with the clutch section of this part. We're actually gonna have to do some more cutting. As you can see, it sticks out a little bit more. So I'm gonna line this up and do some marking, and we're actually gonna do some trimming on this metal piece so we can stick that back there. So we got all the pedals mounted. We kind of just put the gas pedal just on a C-clamp, and I'm thinking we're gonna have to actually bring it out a little bit, because as you can see, the clutch pedal is all the way up here. This brake pedal needs to come forward like that, but the gas pedal needs to come forward. But everything's looking pretty good. All the dimensions are working out pretty nicely. And then we'll have our gear shifter right here. So I think that's all gonna work out pretty good up there. So now that we have our brake booster in position, what we're gonna do is go ahead and start cutting our little 90-degree bend that we had, where it's actually a 180. And what we need to do is notch it, because we're gonna be putting it back up in here, just like that right there. We're gonna trim it down a little bit, just so it sits a little more flush to this brake booster. And that's gonna accommodate for the piece of metal that we cut off right here. So let's go ahead and notch this tube and get it welded in. So we got this bar nice and cleaned up. We got it notched also, and it's gonna go in here just like this right here. It's gonna be welded on this tube and then on that tube down there. And then if we ever do want to remove this brake booster, we are gonna build a nice little window right here, and we're just gonna bolt everything together so it will just slide through the back. If we do have any problems in the future, we are thinking ahead of time. But let's go ahead now and just weld this piece in. So check that out, guys. We got the brake booster fitted in there nice and snug. The clearances are pretty tight, but I think it's gonna work out really nice and perfect. And now what we need to do is actually go to the steel store right now. We do have to get some more frame rails. I'll show you guys why in a minute. Let's go over there. So we're headed to the steel store right now. We need to get a frame rail, and I think we're gonna check out some aluminum sheeting for the floor. So we're at the steel store here. We actually decided to go with a little bit different frame rail from last time. So let's head back to the shop and we'll see what we got. We're back at the shop. We just got back from the steel store and we picked up this metal right here. These are actually 2x3s instead of 2x4s, which is, we're gonna save a little bit of weight. We do need to do some modifications inside. We do have, our main problem is we need to lower the seat down a couple inches, because as you can see, we've installed the pedals, that's about as high as we could have installed them. So what we're gonna have to do is actually lower everything down and have the perfect solution for all of that. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and get everything out of this car. Now what we need to do is actually redesign a part of this frame right here. What we need to do is lower this entire section right here, which is basically meaning remove it. And what I'm gonna do is actually weld another frame rail coming off from this side rail right here. And that's actually gonna go up to the actual main frame rail up here. And then what that's gonna do is gonna allow us to remove this actual center part right here. We'll still have the frame rails going on the side. We're just gonna remove the center and that will drop our seat down like 4 inches. So the first thing I'm actually gonna do is go ahead and remove this entire body right here, just so it's gonna be a lot easier to work on this frame. So we got both of these cut for both sides, and let me show you guys how it's gonna fit up. This one's gonna go just like that right there, and we have good clearance for the wheel. And then this one right here is gonna go simply just like that right there. And that's all gonna get welded together. And we are gonna do a lot more plating and stuff like that, reinforce it really nice and strong. So let's go ahead and clean up these. We have this side and that side. Let's clean it all up with the flap disc and get it tacked on. So we got all these pieces of metal nice and prepped. Now let's go ahead and put them on the frame rail. guys, so we got both of these sides welded in. I am having some trouble with my welder. It welds good sometimes, and then we're having some issues, so we're gonna have to get that sorted out. But we got mostly everything just welded together. Now what we're gonna do is actually chop this frame rail off right here, and then we are actually gonna box all this in right here really nice like that, and then probably from the bottom, and then do a little more reinforcements just to keep that area nice and strong. Now what we need to do is actually go ahead and cut these supports off. So we're gonna give it a cut about here, and then go ahead and cut it here, because this is gonna stay right here. That's perfectly fine right there. Or we might actually cut it right here, and then slant that down, and the seating position will be perfect right here. So let's get the Sawzall and cut off some of these tubes. All right, guys, so we got the old frame rails cut off, and I know you guys are probably thinking this is gonna be kind of weak right here, but what we're gonna do is actually plate all this up really nice, and this is where the roll cage is actually gonna start. From this point right here, we're gonna have the deal in tubing, which is gonna go to the roll cage, so that's gonna strengthen all that up. And we are also gonna add another frame section, probably coming off this side and then going this way, and it's gonna connect back to here, and then we'll have our nice perfect seating position. Will probably be like down there. So that's gonna fix all our issues, because we were having a little bit of issues with the pedals being a little bit too low to the floor, and we won't really be able to use them. So now that we got that all done, let's go ahead and do some more cutting and get this other section welded in right here. So we went ahead and took off this side header right here, and now what we're gonna do is basically replicate this tube onto this side, and it's simply just gonna come down like that and then connect it back with this back here, and then we're gonna have our perfect setting. So let's do some measuring and do some cutting. All right, guys, so we got these frame rails welded in, and we kind of went like at an angle just so we would have nice room for the transmission right here. It kind of fits up perfectly in there, just like that. And we got it welded on right here. And what we're gonna do in the next episode is actually cut this off a little bit and then cap all this off and probably weld some plates like this and then weld some plates under there and just weld, basically box off this whole section, make it really nice and strong. And I think that should be good. And we've already test fitted the seat and we've done lowered it like 4 inches, so that's gonna give us a nice clearance. And the pedals actually fit up pretty good now. So all that is gonna work out perfectly. So in the back, we're also gonna go ahead and probably put some plates like that and just make it go up like that and then weld everything together. So that's gonna look really good. And I'm thinking about maybe adding another support that goes across here. And then that'll give us some support right there where the seat is. And then we are gonna get some aluminum from the steel store. They got some pretty good aluminum sheets for pretty cheap. They had some damaged ones. And then we're gonna plate everything with aluminum and the entire interior will be done. So we're basically done with the frame right now. There's a lot of cutting and welding going on here, but that's just what it takes to build your own frame. I didn't really wanna look off any other frames, and that's why I've kind of been stuck in this little situation. But I think this time it's gonna be perfect, because that was our only issue which was stopping us from finishing the car, was because the floor was the floor was a little bit too high, and I kind of screwed up on that, and it kind of just sucks whenever you screw up and then you got to go back. But it's a learning process for sure. So that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. We got a lot of work done on the frame of this car, and in the next episode we will be finishing up the frame. The frame will basically be done. We'll have everything buttoned up. But if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and we also do have some new merch on the website, so go ahead and check that out and give us a follow on Instagram if you want to. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode.